Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Advertising. Today we're going to be covering Chapter 17 or Lesson 17, Introducing Social Media, part of the integrated marketing communication tools that you have as an advertiser. Remember, I keep on stressing it. Advertising is the mouthpiece, the visual arm of an integrated marketing campaign. It's what the your target audience sees. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to be covering social media. We're going to talk a little about individuals, personas of social media, the rise of social media, effects of data explosion, utilizing social media. Remember, all this is from the marketer's perspective. This is a new way that hasn't been tapped in. It's being tapped in as more and more people become more connected to the internet. How do I, as a marketing or as an advertising agency or an advertising individual, utilize this tool, which you'll find out is the new word of mouth. The old word of mouth, you had 7 friends, you tell them, hey, George was bad. Now the new word of mouth is you could have thousands or millions of friends. Well, not millions. Well, you could have millions of friends. If you have some of these, some of the stars do have a lot of followers. So we're going to talk about that, the explosion data, and how do I take that data that's out there to the Twitters, to the tweets, to the social media communication, and how do I utilize it to leverage my product or service or my business? How do I manage the social media? It looks up front, it looks very inexpensive, but those of you who and most of us, you got Facebook or LinkedIn or other social media sites that you utilize. It takes time. You got to read it. You got to write it. Similar to the forum. If you're taking the online class or a face-to-face class, it's during a lecture, but an online class, you're doing to the forums. Email is another way of social media. Okay, how do I build social media authority? Customer service in social media. How do I use social media to respond to customers who are upset? You have to be careful though. What you'll find out when with the reading, or you already have access to my concept maps or mind maps, and social media by the numbers. How many people? Why is marketing, advertising looking at this new tool within the last, I think, from 1990, in the last 20 years, that's exploded, going more and more. Smartphone technology. We are so internetly or connected. They know everything about me, whether I like it or not. They know where I buy. They know everything else, which is good from a marketing perspective. I'm not talking about the ethics side or the privacy issue, because a lot of times you'll on any kind of the apps or anything else that you're utilizing through the social media, that's part of the thing. You know that once you send something to another friend or another person within your social network, he or she may bring other people in, and they have access to that social network. So if I could somehow come in there as a advertiser and see, maybe not advertise, because it's a fine line, but be part of the conversation. Okay, what you'd call viral marketing. But on this class, we're just going to talk about social media and how social media transforms business. Okay, so let's look at our learning objectives. I think I have this at 200, so it'll be well seen. Okay, I'll try to get. I've been doing pretty good. The last couple lectures were under an hour. I mean, 'cause this is a full lecture. If you're on online, this is what you have to bring it, utilizing the YouTubes or utilizing some of the recordings, brings that personal face. Look at me as a business, and I'm trying to teach you something. I'm trying to learn you something, for lack of better words. I can't teach you anything. You got to learn on your own. I could just bring the material to you. So, learning objectives. Discuss how social media differs from traditional media. You still utilize traditional media. I don't give up that. Remember, this is only one part. It is one thing out of my advertising tool, because I have to saturate my target audience with different ways, because there's different people that see things, look at things at different times that we've been doing from the previous lectures or readings that we had. And so all this, you see in the social media, the friends are talking, word of mouth, advertising, print, billboards, everything you can think of is what advertising does. So remember, if you're a small business, you have to know all of this, or at least be familiar with this when you're talking to an advertising agency. But if you're going from a career objective from a college thing, and you're going to go into marketing, and you're an artistic or you're a creative individual, you're a journalist who likes to write jingles. That's all part of the advertising. So there's a lot of areas, and social media is another one. You like to do the Twitters, you're on Facebook all the time, you're doing it. How would you like to get paid for that? That's the kind of individual that may hire you into the advertising just to maintain it. It's easy to create a Facebook, but it's harder to maintain it. You always have to be on it, texting all times of night, responding. Otherwise, you lose your followers. Similar to a business, if I'm not in the front page by advertising or communicating to my target audience, my customer base, they're gonna lose interest in me because they're not boring and said nothing. Let's see something new. We all like to find out what's new and innovative. That's part of our learning process as human beings. We want to grow, and part of growth is what haven't I done and what complements what I'm doing now. Okay. Let's see, explain how to manage social media on behalf of a brand. Remember, a strong brand name, and we'll talk about that. Define application of social media. That's what you're going to find in this reading, in this short lecture. I can't go into detail of everything. That's why you have the reading material, the concept map. Remember, this is an introduction to advertising, so it just gives you a layout. I know for some of you going, my goodness, I just got to hire someone. That's fine. Or you could do it. All you have to be is aware of it. Once you're aware of it and you know the terminology and you know when someone they're talking, it's not like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? You already learned it. You already got the first base. You already had the seeds planted. You've done this. You're going to be doing an advertising plan for me if you're taking me at a college level course, or even if you're taking some training sessions with me. You know, small businesses will come in and try to learn how to do an advertising from a small business perspective. And social media is real. It's not inexpensive because you have to have a body always there. But you could get a college student that's a journalist that likes to tweet or likes to be on Facebook. And now, how do I utilize that individual's skills and pay them? You know, I'm not doing an advertising to monitor and keep an eye on this. Okay, so let's introduce social media. What do we have here? We have a power. Let me look at this one. Okay, this one is just showing. I think all this is. I should have made it a little bit bigger. Oh, there we go. We're going to talk about different forms. I knew I had that. Hang on a second. Let me just change this so it works well when you're so you see everything. You got to take this and I just got to move it over here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about forums. Most of us know forums. You're doing forums if you're taking me in an online class or discussion boards, or a lot of times you're linking in. So you're going to go in, you jump in. A lot of times I'll start a controversial in a forum. I listen to it and I pull out. I just do, and then people, and they're fighting. I come back later on, and I'm not even in a conversation. I started to see that's advertising. Plant something in there and let them talk about it in the forum. If it's something you hear about this, you know, when Apple came out with a new product, they utilizes the forums or they utilizes social media before they go into doing a full-blown advertising campaign, or before they don't have to hire a focus group. If you have certain followers that are in there, and you get a pretty good pace, and then you go with a focus group, because then you see the eyes and the visuals. You know, when they're asking to see the campaign or the advertising, see their expression. I can't really see. I can hear their expression, but I want to see their eyes and their facials. Because words say one thing. Some people on some of the social media just have a lot of hot air, or just say a lot of stuff just to talk, but don't mean anything. Right? So those things you got to filter out. So that's what I do, you know. But you have a good idea. A majority of people in your circle, your network that you're utilizing to come up with new products. I think Mountain Dew has some games or something else in the social media, and that's how they were attracting people to name the different types of Mountain Dew. I just finished one here. Hang on. And I just throwing out, you know, the different names. Oops. Here, Mountain Dew Voltage. You know, who came up with the name? It's basically like a raspberry, blueberry. Too sweet. You know, but you have another one that's white. So in the involved people in there to come up with the names for that. So now they're talking. Hey, they selected my name. What about this name? But they have to taste the product. What does it taste like? And now you have a whole network of people doing work for you. And then when you had the campaign, pretty successful. They're out there. Okay. All right, so you got the forums, you got the blogs, and we'll talk a little bit about microblogs, or same thing like a blog, but very short writing, wikis. We talk about that, different kind of software out there, social bookmarking is kind of outdated, but it's still utilized. You got some baby boomers, maybe like myself, that be utilizing social network. I tell you, social networks, you need to connect human aspect. You want to connect data explosion. What do I do with all this data that's out there? How do I bring it in and turn it around and put it back into there that makes my product look good, or maybe makes my competitor question something about my competitor. Not liable. You don't get sued, but here's what's out there, and social media is one way of doing it. Once you start to tweet, where does it go? Okay. So we have this one, no geographic bind, and we have all this. Let's see, Twitter, we know that on Twitter there's a thing called, from a business perspective, called TweetDeck, and that basically allows users to follow multiple topics, for marketers to follow the conversation. Remember, I plant the seeds, I pull back, and all I'm doing is listening. And this is kind of what it looks like. If I look at it, maybe I'll do a little bit bigger here for you. We're live in this program here. Let me see, I got to get in here. So anyway, you could get the gist. So these are all conversations, and I'm listening to them or watching them. It's like I'm like in a security camera. I've got cameras all over watching what's going on, and I'm looking at what's the momentum and how do I jump in, or do I jump in, or how do I do something if it's negative to bring it back to a positive, so it looks out well for that. I just lost that one. Okay, so I got to put it back there. Okay, we're done. All right, so we have that. What else we have? Forums, wiki. You got is user collaborated context site. And, a lot of students utilize that. Old technology is gone. Blogs we already know. But there's two types of blog: reverse chronological journaling site, for lack of better words, and then microblogs are the same thing, but only allow 140 characters. So it's almost a real short, but it's like a tweet, or a little bit longer than a tweet. Now, one thing I want to bring out to the students who are not only businesses, but also to a lot of the college students that will be looking at this or taking this course with me. When you're tweeting, and when you're doing Facebook and everything else, you're doing a lot of shortcuts. You're doing like icons or those smiley faces, whatever. In business, I do that for that medium, works well. When I'm writing an email, you got to remember, you can't do all the short stuff because it looks like you have poor grammar. It doesn't look like you're educated. It doesn't look like you're professional. So remember, look at the media. I'm tweeting real quickly. I'm text messaging somebody. Yes, I got this. I may put a smiley face, or because my phone allows me to do that. Gives me some emotion. I'm upset. I'm worried, or whatever. But utilize that for the medium that's appropriate. But if you're always using one medium, you forget when you're writing, because you leave out the verbs and you leave out. You're like my concept maps, real short. Look at my concept map. They just give you or my maps. They just give you the main point. But when I had to write all this into a paper, like you'd be writing, now I add on the paragraph, the sentences, I make it flow, but I basically have an outline, a conceptual outline of what I want to talk about, and I can follow through by different topics. So that's all that is. Okay, now this is a simple syndicated reverse, old technology, again, in many different ways to distribute content. Okay, so we have that. YouTube has a stickiness, gains, repeat audience, openness. Anyone can see any comment. Remember, those of you who paste stuff on YouTube, even though you take it off, it's already out there. It could be another network. You could take it off from yours, like when I do the YouTubes, or here, or if I'm utilizing Camtasia Relays. A lot of times it's the software I'm doing here, and I upload that into some of the colleges I'm teaching at. It's out there. It's gone. You know what I mean? So how are you going to get it? Anyone could comment, anyone could look at it. If I pull it back, it's still out there. I can't get rid of it. So make sure you are always looking good, always professional. You're in marketing, you're advertising. Social bookmarking is recently not popular. It's something for the older population, like myself. But look, I'm older. I'm teaching this class. Look, I'm live on here, and online. You see me. Pretty soon you're gonna have two-way conversation. I think Blackboard down in a couple versions gonna have a FaceTime. So when you're in a class, say, Dr. George, what you doing? Other students, you can see everyone else. It's there. It's just the cost is a little bit higher. Okay. Now when you look at this one, if I'm looking at social personas, it's basically my own person. What do individuals do? We all have certain roles that we do. Like I mentioned, let's say I'm more of a Okay, am I a creator? Okay, and if I look at this, it has everything else in here. So let's look at this one. I use this, even though if you know, because a lot of times some of you may not have this, because I give you a PDF file and you're studying, and I have the exhibit in there. You're better off, and here's the retrieve. Here's where you have the global social media from 2011, which is not too bad. It's 2015, 2016. You know, it's 4 or 5 years old. Remember, in business, in marketing, I'm looking at the most current data because I'm making plans strategically. If we learn in other chapters, strategically how to get this, my customers are doing. In 5 years, in 2020, when I'm giving this same lecture, I had to update it because it may change. It'll be another different social media, and like the bookmark or some of the other ones, they're outdated now because there's something that's more interactive, and that generation is picking it up. I have to pick up on that because I'm part of advertising. I don't have to be proficient. I hire individuals like you, younger individuals, Generation X, Y, millennials, so you could basically do that for me. I'm still doing the advertising. You've got the skill how to talk. I've got the skill to tell you here's what I want said, and then I'll look at the ad. Is the message coming in, and how are we control it? So let's look at this. Creator. You have publish a blog, publish your own websites, upload video. That's what I'm doing. I'm a creator. Upload audio, music you created, write articles and stories. That's how you get people to follow you. I'm not looking. All right, so you're following me, and that's 28% of the users are creators. Conversationalists. This is from 24 to 23%. Conversationalists, update status on social network site, post updates on Twitter, 36%. My daughter does that. I'm going here, I'm going here. If I was a burglar, and that's the negative side. You put all that on there. I'm going to be on vacation. Here I am, and my mom's watching the dog every other week. She's going to come. Okay, fine. You told me exactly when you're not going to be there. I'm going on vacation. I got a security system. I've got a nanny coming in, a lot of people go on vacation. So there's, I have a sister that's a lot older, so she goes to all the other places. She house sets. There's social media. She said, I'm a house setter. I'm 90 years old, and I'm going out here, sit in the house, keep an eye to the things, and you eat all you want. I don't pay you anything. You fly in there, but you could go utilize the site, and someone's maintaining it. And again, it's another way of utilizing it for your own personal gain. So, but a lot of them are just conversationalists. You have a lot of critics, post ratings, review products and services, comment on somebody else's blog, contribute to online forums, throw something in, contribute or edit wikis, okay? Then you have RS feeds, vote for website online, tags or web or photos or pages, okay? Then I got real blogs. Then I got the spectators, read blogs, listen to podcasts, watch videos from other users, read online forums, read customers' rating, read tweets, but don't ever contribute to anything. They just like to look. Boy, my life isn't too bad when I look at somebody else's life, or I want a life like that, okay, or none and above. They're inactive. Some people are very. So you got 14% of people that are on the internet are not even, they're on there, but they're not doing any of the different. They're not doing anything else. They're just either just paying their bills or something else. Okay, so not using social media, for lack of a better word. Not meaning that I don't buy or do something on the internet. It's just that social media, I'm not reaching this target market. So when I'm looking at this, I got a pretty good idea of a lot of people. So if I could just get my message in there, okay, so we have that, and that's all this is, and I got those for you. When you get my concept maps, you can print them out. Those of you taking me on an online class or a face-to-face class where I'm lecturing, you can just print them out and you add on to your own. Remember, I try to keep it short. I would just upload video, and I would get rid of this, publish web pages. I put more verbiage in here than I would on my own when I'm studying. I do this because I already know what words I'm in there. This doesn't do you any good if you haven't read the material or if you haven't done any research. This is a supplement. Remember, I read the material first exposure. Now I'm building on that first exposure, moving it from temporary recall to long term. And once it's in the long term, it's permanent in there. Remember, it's not like on the web and I just get rid of it. It's permanently in there. So when I need it, I'm searching. I'm looking up in the sky. They say if you're looking down, you don't have a clue on the exam. I know you don't know anything about it. So just take a wild guess. But if you're looking up, you know it. You're just trying to retrieve it from your computer brain. And this is all it's doing. It's giving you real short, and then you could add everything onto it. I throw in with the concept maps and mind map. This is a great tool. You could do like on here, I think this was like 30 PowerPoint slides. If I would have done a lecture, here it's like quicker. I could cover a lot of material and just get right to the point, and you could do for studying. So if I'm looking at this persona, if you're taking me for any kind of an exam, social persona, creators, kind of conversationalists, critics, collectors. It's late at night today. I'm recording this because it's quiet. I don't have anybody up. Joiner, spectator, and you can remember that. Instead of reading all the words, you just get this, and a creator does something. So you could kind of figure out what is creation. You don't have to remember all of them. It's nice to know what they do, publish your own, but you could figure it out if you have a question to answer, or if you have to do an essay. It depends on the test format. Okay? Now, rise of social media. I'm going to go with general information. When you look at social media, we all want some companion. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that are hermits, and that's their life. They don't want anybody. They're happy by themselves, and that's fine. Very small percentage. Okay, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. You may be religious and you want to connect yourself, but you just stay away. You have people living in Alaska. They don't want to bother anyone. They want nature. They want to be themselves. They want to be self-sufficient. A smaller population. Some are going more and more into that because they think there's a lot of things going on, and if anything ever crashes, they can survive. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about someone that's just introvert and doesn't want to deal with anybody. Very small population. Majority of people, we want companion. You know what I mean? You need companion. If you have companions, that's just human nature. You like to talk to somebody. You like to have someone to share your good tidings. You could have all the money in the world. What good is it? No one knows it. No one cares. I'm happy. I got money. You like to see the other people being happy. Just the whole thing, sharing. So that's what drives social media. We need to connect, and we like to look at other people's lives and see what they're doing. And so, even though I don't want to be involved in that, I'm glad that's not my life. Or just like my life, I could relate to him or her. And how did they solve that? Companies use social media as their main web presence. Some companies, that's all they do. They don't advertise on the internet. They just use the social media. But you have to be a good communicator, because you make one error viral. It's everywhere. And you look at a politician, he or she says one thing that's derogatory for all the time they've been talking, months on the road. One comment, boom, it's they got name recognition. Hopefully it's a good comment, or it's a funny comment that at least says, hey, he's got a sense of humor. You know what I mean? I think Romney, I think he's running for president. They're all running for president. You know what I mean? But his whole thing, very intelligent individual, not pushing one or the other. Hillary Clinton's good, Bush. I'm just looking at a candidate that's coming up for election. But when I look at him, he's good, but he doesn't have he's more of a business person, very rigid, very strong. Same way I was. If you look at some of my previous recordings, I had to learn it. Look at this as social media, because I'm recording. I'm giving it to you. How am I going to come across? I'm a little more relaxed now. I know I can't see, but I know there's somebody's going to look at me at one time. So I'm looking more at the camera instead of looking around like this when I first started, or like this very strict. Okay, so you have to. If you're doing it completely social media, you have to have the right individuals who have the followers, what they call viral marketers, that will indirectly bring up your product or say something about it. Adaptation of social media, ads spent on social media. Let me give you these figures. Here's how much is spent. Remember, it's not that much that you think. When I look at this, and here's social media in here, and I think this was in I forgot what it was. I think it was in the thousands. It's a certain percentage of the ads, all right? But if I'm looking at that, I don't know if by month I really have. Oh, here it is, in the millions. Excuse me. I know something. Anytime you have a graph, you should look at it. Sometimes I copy the graphs, put them in there, and I forget about this. I'm so excited. I read it, I do the information, I prepare it, and then I go, oh my gosh, I forgot to put the key thing. And I bring that up to you not to say that George is forgetful, Dr. George forgetful. I bring it up because in advertising, you make that ad and you put it out there and you forgot to put your phone number or your web address. And you've got all these posters out there, and you go, some will find you if they really want it. But how did I do it? You need a proofreading, okay? So social media is on here. You see it's going up to 2014 is 3,000 million. I think it's in a million. If I ain't mistaken, yes, okay? So it's coming up here, social media's up here. Look how it's coming up and use the interactive marketing spend. Okay? Numbers are going up. Why? More and more people are using mobile marketing, smartphone, social media, emailing marketing. Shit, I get bombarded by that. I spam everybody. I get spam, but I put all the filters on it. Those of you who've got filters, after if you're doing any kind of business, you put too many filters. No one's talking to you because they can't get past the filter. So you got to give it. You got to don't do high security unless you don't want to talk to anybody. You got to do like a medium display advertising and searching. Marketing. Okay, so that took care of that. Advertisers are cautious, like I mentioned, need to interact carefully with social media. Complaints can go viral, likes can go viral. That's what you want. I want one YouTube. I got neighbors that doing YouTube, jumping cars, not cars, the model cars and jumping over. What are they doing that for? They're doing that to get on the viral so they can get their name recognition. Or you're singer, likes to go viral. Okay, PowerPoint by age groups, who's using what. If I look at age 15 to 24, and this is social media presentation by age, right? 15 to 24, what is it? From October, from July. Look at the difference. It went up. Yeah, it may not look, but look, I'm looking. It went up 5%, went 8%. This is what I'm measuring. What's my social media going? It's going up. Age 25, it's going up. Age 35, 80% from 71%, not too bad. Well, I'm looking at the demographics of the age. When you're doing your advertising campaign or plan for me, it's a feasibility. The first set, not the full advertising plan. Those of you taking me for a accredited course at a college level. Or at a presentation, or I'm helping you out. It's just to see which media makes sense for me. Okay, so the numbers are going up. Females, you talk more than guys, and I'm not going to do. I do leadership. Guys were more listener. Yeah, I could say, hey, everything's okay. Ladies, you'll go. Everything's okay, and give me a whole story. I had a good day. I had this. Okay, so everything's okay. So I want to hear. Where ladies, you want more interaction. So guys, when you're talking to ladies, you talk a little bit more. So give them a little more conversation. Don't go yep, no, because they think you have no interest in them. And you do. You're listening, but we're not talkers as much. So in advertising, when I'm going to ladies, I got to have my tweets or my social media when I have individuals talking to them a little bit longer conversation because they like that feedback, that stroking. Hey, what about this? Yes, I agree with you. No, I don't agree. Did you hear about this? And I could direct and work it. Look, I'm not manipulating. I'm utilizing a tool that people are utilizing now, and I'm just trying to utilize this tool because there's such a large audience that I could capture. Not, we look, not too many are on there, a smaller percent, but the percentage is growing. That's all this graph is showing. The numbers are going up on this, so that's really good. Okay, and then top 10, what do you call it, social websites, and most of you have seen that. Here's the chart. And the charts are nicer. I'm an advertiser. I want to do all black and white. So if I'm looking at Facebook, it's still number one. 63% are on Facebook. I don't do too much of a Facebook. I'm more of a business. I do sometimes a Facebook when I do some classes. I create a Facebook and I tell students that they have to create their own Facebook. And I do communicate. I turn it on, turn it off. The first time I did that, when my daughter looked at my Facebook, I was taking a class a while back and learning about Facebook. How to do integrate utilizing Facebook for education. And then she looked at it and she goes, Dad, you only got 1 follower, 2 followers. I said, yeah, I know. I'm just signed up. What a loser. I go, what a loser. Yeah, you only got 2 followers. My goodness. Next thing I know, give me a Facebook. All of a sudden I got thousands of people that all her friends. Who the hell are you? I don't care. I don't want them to know about me. But from an advertiser, that's my personal. But from advertising, I want like my daughter. I want to tie into that. I want to know it. And those of you who take me for HR, remember, if you're at over 45, a baby boomer, for lack of better words, you better have a Facebook account. You better have a LinkedIn account. You better have a Twitter. No, Twitter. You got to have one of these social medias. Otherwise, they're going to think you're out of date. You're old-fashioned. You can't connect with what's going on there. And even though the people are hiring you, the boss and everything else are my age, baby boomers, but they're looking for that another baby boomer, or they're looking for young individuals that this is their lifeline. Now, how can I take what I love to do now, whether it's Facebook, tweeting, or whatever, and turn it around and make some money off of it? That's called advertising. That's called getting employed. Okay, then you got Twitter. It's only one, very small percentage, because it's real quick twits, so you got to really follow it all the time. This you could keep it longer. You could do more posting, more interactive. You got all answers, and look, when I put the 0 in here, or when they put the 0 in here, it's not 95%. It's like 1% All right, that's why I put the zero. Remember, it's a percentage. The decimal. I teach finite math once in a while. So you take that off. People, what's the difference? It's 95%. The decimal means a whole different. You just add more zeros. If I get rid of the decimal, I'm not going to give you a math. I just want you to be aware. But in advertising, I throw these numbers on, and if I just throw this on, so people are going to think, hey, 95%. Am I being deceptive just because individuals don't realize the decimal point means something else because they didn't do well in that? Hey, I use stats all the time in advertising, but I'm credible. Authority, not authority. I have authority. All my ads, everything else, I try to be, because once you think you're pulling the wool over them, you're going to lose the brand name. Remember, you want a strong brand name. You want to be truthful. If you made a mistake, I made a mistake and put the decimal point in the wrong place. Okay, and then you got LinkedIn is what I utilize a lot. It's professional. Those of you, this is your friends, family, tell them everything you want. And you should have two Facebook accounts. One that when the company getting hired, so you got a Facebook account. Yeah, here, could I look at it? Yeah, no problem. Here's my password. And another one that only your close friends have. But remember, your close friends, they got network. If they open up, it's gone. Okay? And so you've got Yelp and MySpace. All right? It's very small. Yelp, very little. Okay, let's do advertise. If that's your target market is watching in Yelp, who's the demographic? That's where I'd advertise to, and that's what all this one is. Okay, it just gives you this. Let's see, so you have that. Okay, now we've got this. What are some social trends and trending? This is a term used by Twitter to describe what people are talking, tweeting about on Twitter. Trending. Okay. And let me just tell you real quickly, since I'm going to social media. About 3 years ago, social media was getting a little bit active more than another thing. And I was standing in line, I was dressed up like a regular person buying something, and there was a lady in front talking to another, to the cashier. They're younger, maybe in their 20s or 19, it's hard to tell. All right, so they're talking to each other, and then somebody says, I got poked. And then, and I looked, I didn't touch you, I didn't poke you. And what she was basically saying, what got poked, it used to be somebody would just drop something on their Facebook account or on their, on their smartphone. That means I didn't know when I would meet someone, so I just poke them. And that's a terminology, but for someone outside of that term, to me, I thought, oh my God, they think I'm poking her in a line. I'm some dirty old man or something else. I'm just saying, remember? So who's your target market? Who's your coming in? How would I know that? I wouldn't know that at my age, but I would hire someone else. Now I learned to talk to them. Oh yeah, we poke all the time. We know what you're talking about. Now I understand. So that's why younger people have to be in there. Older people or baby boomers are your experience, and you tie the two. Now you have a strong communication for this demographics that are utilizing social media, and it's usually younger or even older people. They're homebound, they can't go, and how do I go? So they get into the social media and they see what their kids, their grandkids, or other people are doing, their friends, and they never have to leave. If they're restricted or because of their illness or because of whatever, they're not as mobile. I'm not trying to be sarcastic or nothing now, but now I can get into there and I could sell them. There's some equipment to make their life easier or whatever, because they're already in there. Don't lock that group out. Who's your market? Who you are talking to? Are they on the media? If they're on there, they're also reading the paper, they're doing everything else. I need all this to bring my message out in a coordinated effort at a certain time to give that remembrance and that, for lack of better words, build up the brand name and the image. Okay. Who uses social media? Let's look who uses that. I think I got a graph on this one. Okay, here's the internet. All internet users, 66% within each group uses social media sites. All internet users, 100%. So 60%, more than half, are using some kind of social media, and that's what I want to advertise to. Men, we already talked about women's a little bit more. I forgot what the asterisk is. Indicates statistically significant between roles. Extra asterisk means differences with all roles. And here's the information. How early is this? Give me a year on here. And shit, I don't like it when I use this site, but that's fine. All right, 18 to 29, 86%. are using social media at all the internet. That's great. 30 to 49, like 72, 50 to 64, 50%. That's not bad. Come on, 50%, half of that age group. And there's more older people, not as much, but there's a lot of baby boomers. They're all leaving the workplace, or they're out there. How do I connect with them? And 65%, 34% of all 65 years old. Remember, it's looking who's using in that market, a certain percentage of all internet users. 66% have sex. And race, white, 64%, black, non-Hispanic, 68%, Hispanic, English speaking, Spanish speaking, 72%. This is kind of in there, pretty good. So I look at that as a good percentage. Okay, household income, it doesn't make that much difference. Here's a less than 30, 71%, 40, it's 50%, 69, 50, 70, 60%. Again, pretty good group. Education level. Again, high schools are using this. I don't see too much difference in there. You know, they may think so because the asterisks on here. Some college, urban 69. These numbers, so it gives me some good data. Why I should at least look at it. The numbers are going up. The uses are going up. There's more people. There's more security. There's more individuals utilizing it, buying online. This is what they search. They look at the web. They look at the peer pressures. They look at the, not peer pressure, peers, and they want to emulate them or want to be like them. What are they talking about? Where they're at? What are they doing? And that's how you're trying to get in there and do something to get them integrated. Just like Mountain Dew did with the different flavors of Mountain Dew. They had the old country looking, the little hillbilly. Another person that was their whole theme back there. They want to change their image. They want to come in here. They want to do a little more to the younger generation. Still give you the energy, a lot of energy drink, Mountain Dew. And when I was growing up, this was my energy drink, a lot of caffeine. I don't want to look at this. I'm not promoting one or the other. I'm just using this as, look at the nice label. On here, it says Dew charged with raspberry and citrus. Advertising. Where did I look at it? I looked at it in the YouTube, or I looked someplace else on it. Okay? Now, effects of data explosion gives marketers greater understanding how their audience interacts through the social media. I put up a thing. Hey, did you see that ad? Did you price? I tried a product, junkie, never. And now, your product will survive or it'll die because of social media. Shares, likes, dislikes, and feels about the brand. And then when I look at software, there's software out there for marketers to harness all this information. I can't read 20 millions of interaction. Software could. And how to look at certain keywords. What's going on? I put my brand name in. I brought something else on there, my competitor's name. What are they talking about my competitor? What did they like? What don't they like? Once I find out what this area don't like about my competition, now I could use that, my strength, the SWOTs that we talked about, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. I look at that as their weaknesses because the product, I'm making a similar product or trying to promote the same product. What are they upset with? I look at their weakness, and that's an opportunity for me, and becomes a strength for me. So when my ad is there and they're talking about that, I didn't like ABC product, but GAM Consulting or GAM product is a better. Dr. George's homemade product is better than this one, and now it's into the media. But I got to put it in there, just like public relations. I could control it to a point, but once it's out there, I got to manage it because the message may come out differently. Remember, you put it into this web out there, into the cloud, for lack of better words, and it could go anywhere. The cloud moves. Cloud shape. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it's a shade, and sometimes it goes away. Okay? I'm just throwing a little advertising in here. A little jingle at my thing. Okay, traditional managing social media. Traditional media, 80% planning for traditional media that we've talked about. How to get it ready, how to get the time, how to put it on TV, what slot, where's my audience, what time they're watching it. I got to look at all that. 20% execution. Once I know all this, I plan it. All I do is flip the switch and it goes. But I did all the planning. Social media works in reverse. 20% planning. Planning is like a plant the seed, and after that, the execution, it's gone. I don't have to do it. It's like either goes or it just falls off someplace. If it falls off, how do I? You remember when we talked about our product life cycle? Look at your social media, your comments. If it's dying, how do I bring it back up, or do I let it go away? Okay. Cheaper than media, but very labor and resource intense because you've got to always monitor it. Even with the software, someone's got to respond to it. President Obama and all the candidates, they got their own social media. They do their tweets. They'll talk to someone, but they got their staff that does a lot of the writing. I came from the corporate world. Even though the president of the company is underneath his or her signature, it's somebody else writing for him. How what his policy are to make it so they're always interact. There's no way a President Obama is on there tweeting his whole life and not worrying about what's going on with the country. I hope not. All right. Okay. So a website owned, companies post on social media for free. Doesn't cost me nothing. I just got to get in there. Companies employ outsource social media page maintenance. Maybe somebody's out there that's maintaining it. An outside service, third party, for a fee, they'll do it. A danger of boring or overwhelming the audience or over tweeting. You don't want it's like a spam in social media. They'll knock you out. They'll get you out of there. They'll delete you. Next thing you know, you're out of there. Your whole thing is to throw it in there, not to upset them. That's the balance. I mean, anything you're doing in advertising, how much is enough and how much is over the board where I don't want to hear no more. If I see them no more, I'm getting sick and tired of it. I won't utilize them. Okay, that's why you'll see too many of these ads popping around. People just got frustrated and they find what company, just don't buy it, or they write, "I'll never buy it from the company. I can't turn off the ad. What the heck is it? I pay for this. I'm on here. I don't need this on there." Remember, and I'm talking from advertising, and why they changed that is because of you get some companies do that just for whatever reason, but a lot of people do. It works as a negative for you. You have to be very careful because remember, it could go viral, and you want to go viral in a positive or a humorous or in a good light. I gave something, I did something. Okay, and listening tools manage the fragmentation. That's a software. Okay, building social authority, transparency, and authenticity. You need the transparency. Value beyond pricing. Connect brand to customer's heart and emotional. When I talk about, I teach HR to other classes, or some of you have had Intro to Business or some other courses or management classes, prior to advertising. And when I tell the social responsibility, do you have to be social responsible? Yes, you should be social responsible. Social responsibility, when I'm giving something good, giving something away to help some individuals that are less fortunate than I am from a marketing perspective, it goes out a long way because it shows that. I'll show you like Pepsi. Pepsi, it's a company, but the top management, all the employees have feelings, emotions, and they're responsible for what's going on for people using my product. So Pepsi has a lot of things now. You can't. I can't read some of them. Is blurry. I apologize, but a lot of them are giving things. Precise reuse. The Tumblr account you want to see. So they do other things that help you bring your message across or help other individuals with the Pepsi logo. Remember, you see Pepsi logo all over. I don't have to realize now. They got now in here. Here's the Pepsi logo in the wording. I don't have to have Pepsi written out there. You see how subtly I throw this in. The person who's recording, like now, I'm not getting paid by, I don't know who the heck is making it. I'm not getting paid by Mountain Dew. I want to say Pepsi. I'm not getting paid by Mountain Dew or Pepsi to advertise this, but I'm utilizing this from advertising. It was interesting that they named it and they got them involved. I thought that was very creative how they did it, but indirectly, and they didn't get paid for anything else. They just got their name on there, and they got I think they got some reward. Instantaneous feedback. In YouTube, Facebook, you have people that read newspapers in corporations. All they do is read newspapers. I used to work for ComEd or Exxon now, and they look at, or AT&T Motorola, they just look at what's the negative. What are they saying negatively about me in newspaper? Same thing now I have to look at the social media. Is there something going on that upsets somebody, that I do something else that I'm getting negative response, because that's hurting the brand image. So that's all people are doing it. Okay, two-way brand communication to sustain this. So I get instantly amplifies the word of mouth. Remember I said you used to have 7 friends, now you can have thousands of friends, and and those friends may have other friends, so the network could go on forever. We're one big global network connected, scary as it is. Right? Makes it measurable. Factors influencing customers to try the local business, and social media is also good for local business. You could tie in with the high schools or some of the parents association or some of the chamber of commerce, get into the social media, and you'll do well. So what do we have here? Recommendation from friends. How do I find factors of consumers try to locate local businesses? Recommendation of friends. Location of business, only 10% of so 52% are using social media for that. 10% just to find a deal. 8% familiarity with owners. All this is just information that influence consumers to try a local business. Other than my ads. Because remember, an ad or an advertisement is a paid publication. It's from my perspective, try to tell you my message. Social media is other individuals that like my product and are trying to promote it for me, and it doesn't cost me nothing. I just know how to plant the seeds. We don't have too much more in here. Okay, customer service, social media, immediate customer response. So I have customer service monitoring, or you could say a lot of companies. Here's my website, and you go in there with the QR that I mentioned before. And you got the QR thing. You could click on here, and what basically happens on the QR read, you could get information, everything on there, your Facebook account or something else, or you could have it on your receipt. Visit us or drop us a line, tweet us, or drop us a line to social media. Talk to us. Customers help each other in product forums and helps companies customer service department. Look, you're not gonna. Some instructors, some students I know will look at rate my instructor. And some people get. It's like a social media, for lack of better words. And I don't look at it that much. I do the best that I can. You like me, you like me. You don't like me, you don't like me. Why do I say that? It's because you can never please everyone. Everyone is unique. No matter what you do, you can walk on water and you still don't like them. If I look at look at Christ, he walked on water and he killed them. You know what I mean? For lack of better words, or some of your great heroes, or some of your individuals. You could get a bad. You're not going to please everyone. For what I'm trying to say, you can't please everyone, no matter what you do. In your mind, don't worry. You're not going to do the best you can, but be honest, be authentic, be yourself, and you'll do well as a business. Don't rip them off. Don't manipulate them. Tell them in there, I'm not manipulating. I've got them working for me. I'm just throwing in the social media. It's free. It's anything else. I'm just trying to utilize it, just like I would utilizing a grapevine. It's informal communication for those of you that had me for management. All right, remember I'm a double major, management and marketing, so I need both of these. All right, that's where I find out if people like me or not. All right, so you look at it. So you look at the same thing with your reviews. You go under, you look into reviews. That's one thing we talked about. Don't look, I look at the rating. You got 4.5 or got 4.9. Hey, the product's pretty good. Someone's not gonna like it, so I look to see, hey, what they don't like about it. Hey, I mean, I like about it, so I'm going to buy the product. But I look at all the good. So when you're looking at Rate My Instructor, you look like I tell them, you're not going to satisfy anyone. Some people didn't do the homework, they didn't do this, or didn't do it, and I failed them, or they got a poor grade because they didn't do any work. What do you want me to do? Remember, your grade at college level is academic currency. It's money. Instead of me, if you're doing a job for me, I pay you in cash. If you do half the job, I give you half the amount. If you do half the work, I give you an F, 50% here at college level. If you do 70%, you get a C. Look at it as currency. I don't have the time. I don't know. This would be, you're taking a class. Currency, okay? All right, so social media by numbers. Did I have that? Okay, let's look at I got a PowerPoint, and I look at the data here, but here's the chart looks a lot easier. Remember, this I do because when I turn it off and you're doing for studying or you're doing for review of just numbers and real quick information, I can look at the one graph that I provided to you, and if you fill in, you have more detail. You could just go back and forth. I could just use this and talk for I am a half an hour here. But if I had an audience in the classroom and they got questions, I have more than enough to talk for a whole week. Or write about a whole week, okay? So, activity, email sent daily. 210 billion emails. I think I got most of them myself. Look at your email. I cleared it in a half an hour. I got beep, 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 beep. I got another 50. What the? Some are advertising, and some of them are spam. A lot of that I do that because I like to look at different ads for some of my classes. 3 million images loaded to Flickr daily. 1.5 million daily mobile service revenue. That's a lot daily. All right, 700,000 new Facebook members daily. New, they're not even here. There's billions of people in the world. I forgot what it is. 45 million Facebook status updates. This is daily. Daily. How could you have one person looking at this? That's what software looks at it. There's certain things. My name, bad things. Then all of a sudden it'll pop it up, and then I have to get involved in the conversation. 5 million tweets posted daily. That's a lot. 900,000 daily blog posting. Why would I not want to use this? And it's getting more and more. It's not going down in the business life cycle. It was going, remember the business life cycle? You have your introduction, internet back in 1990, 1990. And now you're going up, up, up. And so it's going into the growth. You're still in the growth. You haven't even hit the maturity yet. So you want to be interactive. You want to be in there now so you understand the system. And that's all I have in here sent daily. It just tells you the percentage. You know what I mean? A whole year's worth. Sent 3 million images sent in here, 1 point mils, 13 million of which are games. Just a little added information. 700 new members joined. 45 million status updates are documented daily. And that's everything we covered. Good. How social media transforms business. This is my recommendation statement. Those of you doing my business plan, remember, if you not business, my advertising plan, you will have an executive summary. That's an abstract, and you'll have a recommendation. Here's my ad that I'm trying to do. Here's I'm going to tell the story, whatever you're going to do it. You don't have to do it right. And then here's my recommendation at the end. So this is why would I do it? Dollars transfer from traditional media to social media, right? From traditional, I'm transferring. My traditional is going down because my generations, my target audience is younger and moving. My older generations is still picking up that also because they're connecting with the youngers. They're helping them going in there. In business, I got baby boomers, all generation. You know, when you look at diversity, it's not also culture or ethnicity, for lack of better words, education and everything else, and it's age. So they're helping each other. I got a very diverse audience. Ad agencies increases placements in social media. They know how to do it for you indirectly, so it doesn't become offensive. Employees, staff, media sites. Okay, social media influences person increases customers, increases revenues. If you go viral, if you don't go viral, even if you're doing something that's provocative or maybe distasteful, for lack of better words, like to do, you know, very distasteful, but that's what your company image is, so fine, you could do that. But, you know, that's your brand, because your brand is already, Man Magazine, for lack of better words, is pushing the edge all the time, very controversial, but that's what they do. That's why people buy them. They want something controversial. Social media users, follow the brand. Search for jobs on social media through the network. Same thing you should be doing if you're taking me on an online class or in a classroom setting or a training. Meet the other person in there. I made them a nice guy. Get their business cards. Pass them along. Get their contact. Get some information. You never know. And get into the social media. Get into what media's in your connecting your network of advertising or from a business perspective. You all know what to do. Your Facebook. I'm talking from a business perspective. Common use of social media. You got all these are common remarketing to the entertainment games. With my chart show, yeah, it's the same thing. If you look at social media crowd forcing, when I teach finance on or international finance, I'll teach once in a while. Remarketing, games and gamification, reviews and opinion. So it has all this in here. We took care of this. And then I got common uses. Now, marketing research, online companies. When I look at marketing research, you're basically looking at companies. That's what the MRO sees, marketing research online communities, not companies, excuse me. You could ask your loyal customer advocates what they think of the idea or the communications or all of it before I even go to a focus group. Utilize it free. I got a following, how do I turn it around? When you're in my forums or my online class or my face-to-face class when you're meeting, you help each other out. Look at them as an independent sounding board. Your friends, your neighbors, your whatever your network, or if you're doing something, hey, how do I look for my interview? And you put it on there and you have your picture and you have your network. Hey, George, you look good. You look, and you're hoping when you just by say that indirectly, I'm going for an interview. I'm trying to find a job because you know, I mean, I'm trying to pay off my student loan. I'm using me for example. I'm trying to pay off my student loans. That's why I teach. I do other things to, you know, I want to give back to government for what I owe them to get out of it. You know, that's just me, old-fashioned. You know, how do I get out of that? So, but I utilize, so I could just come in there indirectly, how to look for the interview for the job. And now I'm not saying that I'm going for this job, I'm going for this position, and the network will say you look good, but somebody may say, hey, I might hire George. You see how I just did that advertising. I indirectly put it in there. Hey, I put this new tie, 100 silk. I bought this at Kohl's. Viral marketing. What do you think? I threw the name in there, subtly in there. I'm not upsetting, but they're looking at the tie. Where did you get that tie? Or where did you get this? That's how you have to be in there a little differently than the advertising that has the ad or the spams or the ads that when you come in there. Even social media, they have the ads that are placed strategically, but you could also utilize that as a business individual, or you could have these online communities. But you got to give them something. You get this. You can like Mountain Dew. You can name it. Okay. Coming to space for passengers. Again, they're tied in here to another agency. Recruit and manage these small communities on behalf of brands, giving them valuable feedback prior to spending large sums of media dollars. Only find out the new product would ultimately flop. It doesn't guarantee anything. It still could flop. Because you're talking, you're doing everything else. If I would have tasted it, it's too sweet for me. There's another one that's I think a Frosty or a Breeze. I think that's the name of it. I'm trying to remember, and it's got more of a citric taste to mine. Nothing wrong with this. Some people like the sweet, the raspberry. I'm more of a citric taste of an individual. I like a little sour. It's just myself. My preference. So, but remember, it's an advertising. I throw that in. That's my preference. What's the preference of all the people out there in the market? I had to put my own preference out. My preference is kind of like a guide to get going, and then I find out there's only 1% that think like I do, but 99% this way. I'm selling a product. I'm going for the 99%. All right, so that's it. We covered this on social media. Be aware. You learn everything else. It's another tool that you're going to be using in your advertising, integrated marketing communication. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. We're on chapter 17. I think we got 19 or 20 chapters, and then you're going to be turning in your advertising plan to me if you're taking me on class. If not, it's a good learning. It gives you just a good idea. If you just happen to be on YouTube and click on here and say, hey, this is pretty good. I should use that. If you're on the on the thing, should I even get into it? It's only like 20% of all that sales. Why I mess with it? But it's 20% growing, 22% in about 2,000 or 5 years, and maybe like 40%. Everything's changing, going into this kind of a format. So you might as well learn it. Just how do I adjust, learn, make my mistake with smaller. When I go viral one way or the other, even though there's a lot of people, may not be as bad. When I finally, I got a larger population utilizing the network. So my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and I'll see you in the next session. This is advertising, introducing social media, and I'll see you later. Thank you for listening. And I hope you learned something. And you could take some of this. Remember, there's a lot of information, but at least you could add on. You're going, well, he ever shut up? No, I'm a good marketer. I'm being annoying now.